Good morning. Welcome to my channel. This is Karen Lavender Clothesline, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a few items that have either sold through at a great price or I expect them to bring a great price. Now, while I think it's really important for me to disclose to you on a fairly regular basis what type of profit I'm making on my items, I also like to show you what items I'm picking up that I expect to make great profit. So if you want to see what kind of items I'm selling on a regular basis and what kind of money they're bringing, you can go over to my Instagram and give me a follow there. Again, Lavender Clothesline. There I report back fairly regularly for what kind of profit my items are bringing on my eBay store. All right, let's get started right away. I think you can tell by my thumbnail that I recently sold 2 Spice Girl t-shirts. Shout out to Ryan from Rally Roots for his help in identifying the year of these shirts. And when I posted these shirts, I wasn't quite sure what type of money they would bring. So when that happens, I put them on auction. That's how I run my store, when I'm really on the fence about what type of money the item is going to bring. So I did list the shirts together probably a couple of days ago, and within an hour I had an interested buyer saying, hey, would you sell me these 2 shirts as a buy it now for $100? Right there, I knew there would be great interest. And I messaged him back saying, no, sorry, it's auction. But both of these shirts sold very quickly within the allotted time, first time around. One brought $147.50 and the other one, I think, $111. I'll have to put a screenshot here or here and see what price they brought. All right, so talking about old vintage t-shirts, band t-shirts, big graphic t-shirts, there are a lot of buyers in Japan, in the United States, other countries that are hot on the trail for these kind of shirts. Now, recently, probably in the last few years, I became aware of how many resellers are making a lot of money selling these kind of shirts. So of course I'm jumping on the bandwagon and tried to learn, fairly quickly as much as I could. One of the things that I learned to look for is a single stitch seam on the sleeve and on the hem. That means it's not 2 rows of stitching, it's 1. This makes it fairly easy when I'm going up and down the aisles in a thrift store to spot, because the sleeve is hanging out and you can just look at the sleeves to see if there is 1 row of stitching or 2. I'm not exactly sure what year that changed, but that's one of the things I know to look for. So I'm going to also insert the labels here to show you that the labels you can identify a lot of times by charts. And again, Ryan was great to send me the chart for the tags. That's what tag these 2 Spice Girls shirts had, and I was able to identify 1996. So just those few hints to be on the lookout for single stitch band t-shirts, product promotion, big graphic ones, funny ones, and always check the shirt, especially if it's cotton, to make sure it doesn't have dry rot. Dry rot is a condition that is common in a lot of the older shirts. You really want to give the shirt a tug somewhere near the hem so that if it does rip, you can disclose this shirt has dry rot. Quite a few t-shirts I see have that. But these Spice Girl shirts, I was thrilled to sell, and they were in great condition. They didn't even look like they had been worn, but they did have 2 flaws. One had a small hole in the sleeve, and the other one had a run, which of course I disclosed. All right, let's go on to item number 2 for the type of items that I expect to bring really good money. So I saw this sweater on a Goodwill rack. In my cart, it went so quick. I do really well with vintage sweaters with these big graphic prints, teddy bears, bunnies. One time I even sold one with turtles all over it, and I think I got over $100 for it. These are still a thing. I'm going to show you the label for it. Now the label brand, or the brand label, one of those, doesn't really matter as much. What does matter is that it is a vintage, true vintage sweater with an all-over print Sometimes it has one big bunny and then a lot of little bunnies. I'll try to insert some photos here of ones that I found on eBay that sold through, not my listings. But this is something you want to definitely keep your eyes open for. Do I have this one listed? I don't even know. You can look at my store. If it's not listed yet, it will be in the next couple of days. A lot of times I'm sending these type of sweaters to the Japanese buyer. Now some do stay in the United States, but I'm going to say I've sold more of these to Japan. And I always use the keywords fairy key or 80s, 1990s, depending on what year the sweater is from. Recently I showed a Coogie sweater that I sold. I found in Goodwill. I think I filmed finding it and listing it and selling it through $600. A few of you are still asking to see it, so I will insert photos here of the Coogie sweater I paid $6.97 for, and it sold for $600. So be on the lookout for Coogie, C-O-O-G-I. That is another bolo to keep your eyes open for. This next type of item I talked about recently. I did share that I pick up denim jumper dresses. That's a very hard thing to say. And especially when they're in big sizes, I can do quite well. Here is another version of that same item. This is a Christmas printed jumper dress. I'm going to stand back. That kind of looks cool with my black sweater. So I don't know who's wearing these. I've never seen anybody wear a Christmas jumper dress, but when I find these, I am so happy because I have sold probably, I don't know, over 30 or 40 of these. Again, very good money. Now I have to say they are better when they have the button front and the buttons are like novelty buttons. They will kind of go with the print, whether it's teapots or, oh, I've seen all kinds of little folk art buttons. This one, unfortunately, has just the plain tortoise buttons, but I still said yes to it. This is Cade Collection. Cade? Yeah, C-A-K-A-D-E. I can spell. And you can see that the label is vintage. A lot of times these dresses are vintage and a lot of times they are cotton. So again, you want to look for jumper dresses with novelty prints all over them. This next brand I think we all know, Patagonia. I love finding Patagonia. Now, I don't think this is like a secret or anything. I think most people know about this brand. I have a tendency to pick up the big graphic t-shirts. I don't do a lot of the plaid button down or pearl snaps in that brand because the logo is usually very small. Patagonia is a brand that people really like its splash. They really like a swag, bragging shirt for Patagonia. But I love when I find it in the scenic, I don't know what this is called, to have the mountain scene on it, and the bigger the better. So I'm going to show you the label for this one. This one is organic cotton, which will bring a little bit more money than if it wasn't organic cotton. There are different labels that will bring higher money. The vintage Patagonia with the big, I don't know what it's called. It's a big scene, usually a mountain or a country scene on it. Those can sell in the hundreds of dollars. I don't expect to get $100 for this one, but I'm going to say probably a solid $30 to $35. And I just wanted to bring it up because I don't find the Patagonia t-shirts with this graphic that often because I think most people know what it is. But here is the label. And the labels for Patagonia look different, so don't expect to see this exact one unless you find one of the organic cotton shirts. Even after 8, almost 9 years of being in the thrift stores, I come across brands almost every time I'm shopping that I had never heard of. And here is a brand that I think I might have heard of, but I don't think I've ever found it. This is Noah. Let me find the little... Oops, sun is shining, sun is up. I'm showing you this because a lot of times I am going by what an item looks like, what the quality is. Now, that is my number one tip I always share with you guys. But for instance, when you're looking at old vintage t-shirts or Spice Girl or band t-shirts, you can't go by quality because a lot of t-shirts are that same quality. So this one, I did feel that it seemed a little bit different and I ran a quick comp. This one should bring, again, probably $25 to $30. And the logo is tiny, but people look for the Noah brand. I'm not even sure where this is made. I think it's United States. Yep, made in the USA. So right there, that's a little hint. If you're wondering about an article of clothing, always look at what country it's made in. If it's made in the United States, I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, you have a better item. So that is one of the tips that I use. Another shirt that I love to find on the clothing racks in the thrift stores, Aztec printed button-down men's shirts. So this one happens to be a vintage Wrangler. I do find a couple of other brands quite often. I think it's Eli Cattleman, and there's another one, Sportsman something. I don't even know. But when I see this, it stands out on the rack, this kind of print. Southwestern Aztec. I don't know who's wearing these shirts, probably people in the Midwest. I mean, what am I basing that on? No idea. Rodeos, you know, the whole Western thing. So you want to keep your eye out for Aztec printed pearl snap button-down shirts. And the last top that I want to show today is a Chemi and Kin. This is Anthropology, and the reason I pick it up is for the embroidery. You guys all know me. I am a big lover of the brand Johnny Was. This is not Johnny Was. If it was, I'd be keeping it. But this one does seem like a top like that. A very boho, peasant style, beautiful colored embroidery. It even has it down the front, down the yoke. So when I find a top like this will bring more money, even if it wasn't Anthropology, but it was a good brand. So it's not dependent on the Anthropology, it's dependent on the embroidery and the style of the blouse. Now there are some items out there that the embroidery is not as well done. So you do have to learn to spot better made or better sewn embroidery, if that makes sense. But I love these blouses. I might try this one on. We'll see. But I figured I would mention this to you guys because I do quite well with these blouses. A lot of times they will bring $30 and plus. So those are the items for today. Thanks so much for following along. Hit the like and subscribe button, and as always, go out and get what's yours.